Ancient Egypt was a world born from a single mighty river. This civilization, one of the oldest and most magnificent in human history, grew along the banks of the Nile. For more than 5,000 years, this river was the absolute center of life. Imagine a long green ribbon of life stretching for miles through a vast and empty desert. This was Egypt. The land close to the river was fertile and black, a place of abundance. Far from the river's touch, the world was red desert sand, hot and unforgiving. The Nile created a clear and vibrant line, separating survival from nothingness. It was along this line that a great culture was born and flourished for millennia. The rhythm of life in ancient Egypt followed the rhythm of the Nile. Every year, like clockwork, the great river would flood its banks. This was not a destructive event, but a life-giving one. When the waters receded, they left behind a thick layer of dark, rich silt. This soil was incredibly fertile. Farmers eagerly awaited this gift to plant their crops. They grew essential grains like wheat, barley, which they used to make bread, and beer. They also cultivated vegetables, fruits, and flax for making linen cloth. The Nile's annual flood was the foundation of their entire agricultural system, ensuring that the people had food to eat. At the very top of Egyptian society stood the pharaoh. The pharaoh was not simply a king or an emperor. He, and sometimes she, was considered a living god on earth. The people believed the pharaoh was the earthly incarnation of Horus. Upon death, the pharaoh would become one with Osiris, god of the afterlife. This divine status gave the pharaoh absolute authority over the land and people. It was his sacred duty to maintain Mayat, order, truth, balance, justice. The stability of the cosmos, the flooding of the Nile, the prosperity of the kingdom, all rested on the pharaoh's shoulders. The pharaoh's role was all-encompassing. As head of state, supreme lawmaker, final judge. As commander-in-chief, he led soldiers into battle to defend Egypt's borders to expand its influence. The pyramids are the most iconic and enduring symbols of ancient Egypt. These massive stone structures rising from the desert sands are a testament to ambition, engineering skill, religious devotion. They were not palaces for the living. They were elaborate tombs, houses of eternity for deceased pharaohs. The Egyptians believed in life after death. A person's spirit, or ka, would continue to live on in the afterlife, but it needed a preserved body and a safe, permanent resting place. Pyramids were built to protect the pharaoh's mummified body from tomb robbers and from the elements, ensuring his journey to the next world. Inside, the tombs held everything the pharaoh would need: chambers, corridors, furniture, clothing, jewelry, food, wine chariots, boats. The burial walls were covered in intricate paintings and hieroglyphs. These texts were not just decoration. They were powerful spells and incantations from works like the Book of the Dead. Those formulas guided and protected the pharaoh through the underworld. Religion was woven into the very fabric of daily life in ancient Egypt. It was not something separate or reserved for special occasions. The Egyptians worshipped a vast and complex pantheon of gods and goddesses, with estimates of over 2,000 different deities. Each god had a specific role and controlled different aspects of nature and human existence. Ra was the powerful sun god, who sailed across the sky each day in his solar boat and journeyed through the underworld at night. Osiris was the god of the afterlife and resurrection, who judged the souls of the dead. Isis, his wife, was the ideal mother and a powerful magician who protected the living and the dead. People believed these gods were active and present in the world around them. They prayed to them for help in their daily lives, asking for a good harvest, a healthy child, or success in business. They made offerings of food, drink, and flowers at local shrines and grand state temples. These temples were considered the literal homes of the gods on earth. Within the temple's innermost sanctuary stood a statue of the god, which was believed to house the deity's spirit. High priests and priestesses performed daily rituals to care for the god, While pharaohs and gods dominate our image of ancient Egypt, the civilization was built on the backs of millions of ordinary people whose lives were simple and centered on hard work. The vast majority of the population were farmers. Their lives were dictated by the seasons of the Nile, the flooding season, the planting season, the harvest season. They worked the fertile black land with simple wooden plows pulled by oxen. They sowed seeds by hand and harvested with sickles. Wheat, barley. This grain was the staple of their diet used to make bread beer. Beyond the fields, society was supported by skilled craftsmen and artisans. Carpenters built furniture boats. Potters shaped clay into vessels for storage and for cooking. Weavers turned flax into fine linen cloth. Jewelers worked with gold, silver, semi-precious stones, creating adornments for the wealthy. One of ancient Egypt's greatest gifts to the world was its sophisticated system of writing. The most famous form of this writing is called hieroglyphs, from the Greek words for sacred carvings. This beautiful, complex script used hundreds of picture-like symbols. Some symbols represented objects like a picture of a bird, meaning bird. Other symbols represented sounds much like letters of our alphabet. That mix of picture signs and sound signs let Egyptians write complex ideas, record their history, and run their vast kingdom. Hieroglyphs were carved into stone walls of temples, carved into tombs, or painted on coffins. Because learning hieroglyphs was difficult and time-consuming, very few people could read or write. Those who mastered it were called scribes, and they held great respect and importance. A young boy chosen as a scribe spent years in a special school, practicing on pieces of pottery and on flakes of limestone called ostraca. Once trained, a scribe had many career options. Why, after thousands of years, does this ancient civilization continue to captivate us? The answer is simple. Ancient Egypt provides a profound and enduring story of human ingenuity, belief, and perseverance. It shows us what a society can achieve when it is united by a powerful vision and organized by a stable system. The great monuments they left behind, like the pyramids, the temples of Karnak and Luxor, are not just piles of old stone. They are a physical bridge to our distant past. When we stand before them, we are standing in the footsteps of people who lived, worked, and dreamed thousands of years ago. The legacy of Egypt is the legacy of us all.